are watching the Packers Report, and on today's show, we're going to look at the top rumored and or realistic trade targets that the Green Bay Packers could be going after over the next couple of days heading into NFL free agency. And I want to start off just by saying that you guys can be hopeful for this offseason, okay? Packers fans have a lot to look forward to, in my opinion, because as of right now, Green Bay sits at the 13th ranked NFL team in terms of cap space. They got $48.76 million in cap space, and a lot of that kind of uptick as of recent is obviously because late last week, the new salary cap was officially set at $279.20 million. So we're about to look at some trade targets. But before that, let's talk about this new sub battle we're doing, okay? I think I've already shown it on a video this week. We got a new update for it, and unfortunately, we've fallen a little bit more behind. This one, in my opinion, is personal, okay? I know you're sitting there saying, what do we care about the Bills for? Well, our Bills channel started the same week our Packers channel did, and they're beating us in subs. They're 160 ahead of us, so to prove that the Cheeseheads are better than Bills Mafia, for the best coverage you could find on YouTube, make sure to hit that sub button. Let's catch up to the Bills breakdown. Alrighty, there are two types of trades, in my opinion, in the world, and the two types that we're going to be looking at today. Number one, we like to call these blockbuster trades, okay? Trades that make everybody go, oh my goodness, mouths drop open, nobody can believe it. And we're starting with Garrett Wilson, okay? My number one blockbuster trade target. Now, when you trade for somebody, you have to take on their 2025 base salary and whatever roster bonuses they have. So it'd be very cheap for Garrett Wilson, about $3.5 million. However, Garrett wants to be paid, in my opinion. We'll talk a little bit more about that in just a second. But if you can look at the first 3 seasons in the National Football League, man, I don't know why you wouldn't want to trade for this guy. And he's catching balls from guys like Zach Wilson, a 40-year-old Aaron Rodgers, right? And he's still putting up over 1,000 yards in each of the first 3 seasons. The touchdown numbers aren't really there, but no Jets receivers' touchdown numbers are there. But still, to be able to do what he's done for that organization, for that franchise, is very, very impressive in my opinion. However, you have to give up some things for him, right? And then you probably have to pay him as well because he's a year out from needing that extension. So I'm sure he wants to get paid right now. And if you look at the highest paid wide receivers among the NFL this year, you see Justin Jefferson at the top of that list with $35 million. I don't know if Garrett Wilson is going to want that money. I kind of see him sitting somewhere around A.J. Brown level, about $32 million a year. So you'd have to pay him, but then you'd also have to, give up something for him. And my price projection for a guy like Garrett Wilson's 2 first-round picks. And in my opinion, it honestly might be a little bit more than that as well, but in my opinion, that's more than worth it. Not only because you're getting a premier talent, but you don't have to worry about the wide receiver room, the wide receiver position. This guy is a long-term solution to that position. Okay, he's young, he's got a lot left in him, and I cannot imagine what he could do, the damage he could do when a team has a good quarterback, a good offensive line, and a good running back as well, okay? Could be scary hours in Green Bay. Before we talk about some other trade targets, name a player that Green Bay should trade for in the comment section down below. Can be a blockbuster one, can be one you'd kind of more likely see happen. Let me know in the comment section. Trade target number 2, a guy we haven't talked about in a little while because Max Crosby kind of took up a lot of our edge rusher trade discussions. However, he is unfortunately dead and gone for the Green Bay Packers as he signed with a contract extension. It's Myles Garrett. And I think Myles Garrett is a guy who'd want a contract extension as well. You could see only about $19.5 million you'd have to pay him if you just trade for his current contract. But I expect his new contract, the one he'd most likely want to sign, or most likely want if he gets traded, is 4 years, $36.3 million. Max Crosby just yesterday signed for $35.5 million. I think Garrett is going to want more than that. He's going to want to be paid the highest of any defensive player. He's going to want to break that record that Max broke just yesterday. And kind of like Garrett Wilson, with Myles Garrett, you're going to have to cough up a decent bit to get him as well. Okay, it'd be 2 first-round picks. But a lot like Max Crosby, Myles Garrett is a guy, even more so in my opinion, that doesn't just change games, he changes seasons, okay? He changes the trajectory of what a team season can look like just because of what he can do on the defensive line, okay? Green Bay didn't have that guy this last year. Myles Garrett is that guy, okay? I can promise you that. Coming up, we got some more trade targets to talk about. These ones, in my opinion, are a little bit more likely to happen. But before that, I got to ask you guys again, go ahead and hit that sub button for me, okay? If you love the Packers, you have found the best place on YouTube. We're just getting started, and I want to keep growing. Our channel record for subs in a video is 198. Can we break that? Can we get 200 today? Help me out. Subscribe. So we've talked blockbuster type trades. Let's go to trade number 2. And these are our more realistic options, okay? Those first 2 trades were ones that would kind of shock everybody, that would, I don't want to say be unrealistic, but those are once every 5-year types of trades. These ones are the ones you see once a season, okay? And we're going to start with DK Metcalf. And I've talked about DK Metcalf a decent bit on this channel in the last couple weeks, and that's because Green Bay has been linked as a team specifically that is interested in trading for the wide receiver. Corbin Smith, the guy who covers the Seattle Seahawks on a daily basis, tweeted this out saying one team to keep close tabs on, the Packers. A source indicated they have had discussions with the Seahawks this week and have an offer on the table that includes a high pick and a young receiver on the roster to acquire Metcalf. Obvious connection to Schneider as well. So if Green Bay does trade for Metcalf, I believe Metcalf is going to want an extension, and I believe that he should get an extension. I think he's going to get a 2-year one, right? Maybe do that new contract, right? A little bit like A.J. Brown's. 3 years, $97 million, 85 of that guaranteed. If you look at A.J. Brown's, his was 3 years, $96 million, $84 million guaranteed. But when I say make it like Brown, I don't just mean the numbers. I want to take a look at these cap hits, okay? I love the way that Philadelphia structured his contract because his cap hits, especially these next few years, they're not that big. They get bigger as it goes on, as time goes on. I think the same should be said for DK Metcalf because we talked about it just a couple of weeks ago with the new salary cap. It's expecting to boom even more than it already has over the next few years because now Nielsen is using streaming to measure their ratings. So once they see YouTube TV Sunday Ticket, the cap is going to go up because they can see all the more eyeballs that are going to be on it. However, we have got an update recently with the DK Metcalf situation. This is from NFL Talk Sports on Twitter saying a trade between Seahawks and Packers for wide receiver DK Metcalf is unlikely to happen due to the price that Seattle has set per league sources. That could change, especially if the price comes down, but as of right now, it's not happening. And we've even gotten further updates on this topic. Diana Rossini tweeting out yesterday that the Packers are looking for a first and a third round pick. And if that's the case, I'm out. Okay, I'm not doing it. I think DK Metcalf would be great in this offense, but that's, in my opinion, way too much to give up. For me, you could talk me into a second, a fifth, and a player, or I do it for a player and a third. Maybe even a player and a second, but you would never in the world catch me giving up a first rounder and a third rounder for DK Metcalf. Not going to happen. The second realistic trade target that I've got on today's video is Denzel Ward, cornerback with the Cleveland Browns, a name that we really haven't heard much, but I would love to dive into because he's not very expensive. About $13.48 million is his 2025 base salary. And when you look at the production that he gave Cleveland this past year, he was one of the very few bright spots on that team. Almost 50 tackles, tackle for loss, 19 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions. And I think that Ward wants out of Cleveland. Hey, him and Myles Garrett are very good friends. Myles Garrett has made it very obvious he wants out of Cleveland. I think if Garrett leaves, I would not be surprised if Denzel follows, especially because Cleveland's kind of doing this whole reset thing. At least I think they should be doing that, and I feel like they feel they can get something for a guy like Denzel Ward. And when you look at this cornerback depth chart, this cornerback room right now, the way it's currently constructed, it's not bad. But when Jair Alexander leaves, either by trade or by being cut or released, it takes a big hit. And in my opinion, I think Denzel Ward is a very, very good Jair Alexander replacement. They're very similar type cornerbacks. They both are really good in press man coverage. They're bigger bodies. They make plays. The great thing about Denzel Ward is, though, he is number one, he's cheaper by a good bit. Number two, he's healthier. Okay, he does not have the same injury problems that we've seen with Jair in the past. So let me know in the comments section, what would you do with Denzel Ward? Okay, if you were Goody, would you trade for him or would you pass on him? If it's a trade, give me a T for trade. If it is a pass, go ahead and give me a P for pass. You've seen all the trade targets on today's video. We got Garrett Wilson, Myles Garrett, DK Metcalf, Denzel Ward. You guys let me know in the comment section which of those four guys you would most want to trade for, okay? Who do you want out of those four? If it's Garrett Wilson, give me a GW. If it's Myles Garrett, give me an MG. DK Metcalf, give me a DK. Denzel Ward, give me a DW. My number one I want out of all of them is Garrett Wilson. Honestly, I'd love any of the four of them. If any of the four of them happen, I'd be really happy about it, of course, if it's at the right price. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Appreciate every single one of you guys who are joining us on this road that we've got to 2,000 subscribers. If you're not one of those yet, help us out, hit that sub button.